What's up, everybody? Wonderful people of the internet. How is everybody doing this week? If you guys can hear me and everything is okay, type in the chat and tell me that yes, it's fine. You guys know the drill by now. So can you guys hear me? Jose says okay. So I guess yes, you can. Yes, there we go. A lot of people are saying yes now. Very good. So hello and welcome everyone to another Wednesday with me, Karim, in the awesome Smart English YouTube channel for another free live English class. Today is, what is today? Today is Wednesday, I think 25th, I believe. Yes, today is Wednesday, the 25th of July, 2018. Gloria, thank you, Gloria. Thank you very much. Really, I think I look very scruffy. I haven't shaved in about, I don't know, 10 days or something. All right, so let's just say hello to everyone who's here today. Who do we have? Boom, 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 boom. There isn't as many people as usual today. I think that's because we were late posting up the video for today. But hopefully a lot of people will pop in during the lesson. But for now, we have Lolly. Hello, Lolly. Jose, La Yuna. We have Abri de Vega. That's a cool name. I like how that sounds. Abri de Vega. Sounds very cool. We have Abderrafi. Hello, Abderrafi. Thank you for coming to the class. Adrian, Mariam, Rodrigo, Brave Sichamba. That's another very cool name. I really like that name. Brave Sichamba. That sounds really, really cool. Mariam is here. Hello, Mariam. Mariam Bukhris. Hello, Mariam. Ilana is also in the chat with us today. Thank you for coming, Ilana, for moderating. Boom, 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 boom. Am I missing anybody? We have Summer. Hello, Summer, as usual. We have Mariam Lema. We have a few Mariams today, I think. That was the third one. Dorith or Doriath. Hello, Doriath. Mukhtar is also here. Jacqueline is here. Judith, as usual. Noor is here, as usual, again. Gloria Castro, of course, is also here. Mariam says, Karim, how are you today? I am very well, thank you very much, Mariam. I hope you guys are all doing fantastic. Boom, 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 boom. Marjorie is also here, and I believe that is it so far. All right, so today we're going to continue last week's lesson. Last week we started, or we did, reported speech. It was a bit of a heavy lesson. Because of the back shifting. Usually students don't like the back shifting aspect of reported speech. But today we're going to continue with reported speech 2. So I'm actually going to add some more information to what I told you last week. So I'm going to show you a few different ways to also use or to do reported speech. But before that, let me do my intro. I'll tell you who won movie quote of the week last week, and hopefully by that time some more people will have joined the class. Noor says, we missed your face. We missed your face. Thank you, Noor. I miss all you guys too. I always wait for Wednesdays to come because Wednesdays are cool. Which reminds me, today is going to be the last stream for me for the next month, right? Because I'm going on vacation this weekend, right? So I'm going to fly out of Vancouver this weekend, and I am not going to be here for one whole month. So I'm not going to be streaming my English live classes, but I will try to. I'll try to continue posting sort of smaller videos and things like that. So yeah, so it shouldn't be too bad. Gosia just came to the class. Hello, Gosia. Thank you for coming to the class. All right, let me go small. Bam, like that. And let me show you what I am talking about. So you guys are watching this awesome show on the Smart English channel. If you have not done so yet, it's very shocking, but you should definitely click on the subscribe button and hit the bell notification so you guys know when all our next classes are going to be. If you go all the way down to the bottom of the same page, you're going to find my face, boop-de-boop, on my face. and it will take you to this page, which is called Smart English with Karim. It's part of the Smrt family too. I post much shorter videos on this page. So when I'm on vacation, I'll probably going to post most of my videos here, right? So if you guys want to see my vacation and the videos that I'm going to shoot while I'm on vacation, this is where you need to go, right? So Smart English with Karim. You can get it from the main Smart English page when you go down and find my face. Oh, thank you guys. Thank you. A lot of people are wishing me a good vacation. Thank you. I also have a private channel on YouTube. It's called Food AF. This is my own channel. It's not English related. That means I don't really teach you English. It's just my personal channel for fun, right? So I like to cook and I like to feed people. So hopefully if you guys like to eat, you might enjoy my channel. So come and check it out. I don't teach English, but I speak in English so you guys can practice listening. Probably learn a lot of cooking vocabulary. So yeah, so please come and check it out. It's I like to have fun over there. I haven't posted any videos in a long time, I know, but just because I don't have the time for it right now. But there's enough videos in there to keep you hopefully interested for a little while. Also, for the people that keep asking, how do we donate to you guys? How do we show support or give you guys money if we want? You guys can do this from our website basically. So if you go to smartenglish.com, you're going to find this page, which is the live page. Actually, I can put that in the chat box so you guys know where that page is. And that's what basically this is for, right? A lot of people were asking about this, so we set up this page. If you like what I do, if you like what Kent does, this is not Kent. I don't know why Sean's face is on Kent's thing. But wait a second, let me refresh the page. Maybe if I refresh, nope, Sean's face is on Kent's picture. I don't know why. But anyway, if you want to subscribe to me or to Kent, basically support, that's it's a $5 a month Canadian dollar subscription, and you can cancel it at any time. If you don't want to pay money every single month, well, then you guys can very easily do this from the chat box. So the chat box that you guys are using right now, if you guys click on this button right here, which looks like a $sign, and click super chat, that's basically, you can do it from here, right? So you can decide how much you want to donate or support us with or whatever, and then you just buy, and that's it. That happens only once, right? So there they are, 2 ways for you guys to support if you want to. You don't have to, and that is what's important, right? Please never forget, we will never require your money. These classes are always going to be free, but if you want to show us a little love, a little appreciation, there are some ways for that. One more thing that's very, very important, our Learn English on Facebook with Smrt. A lot of times people get angry at me because I ignore their questions or I don't answer them because I simply don't have time, right? It's impossible to answer all the questions, and I usually don't answer things also that are not related to the topic that I'm talking about. So this is the best place for that. If you guys want to ask anything that's related to English, please hit us up on the Learn English on Facebook with Smrt. It's a very active group. It's quite large actually, and I promise you, if you ask a question over there, somebody will always answer it. So Learn English on Facebook with Smrt. One more thing, also we have our Discord, which is super cool. I love Discord. I really like it a lot, and I'll give you also the link for that. So this is the link to Discord. It's a nice place where we can whoa, Judith just dun 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 dun. Oh, thank you, Judith. Thank you so much. Judith just donated, and honestly I'm not even sure. Like I don't know if that's $2 or $20. It says 2 up there and then 20 down there, so I have no idea. Whatever it was, thank you so much, Judith. I appreciate it a lot. So I'll give you guys the link for the Discord so you guys can join us. Discord is free. It's gonna cost you absolutely nothing, but it's a really cool place to hang out, chat, share pictures, videos. We have a lot of fun over there. It's really cool. So come and join the Discord. Also, Discord will be a great place for us to chat when I'm on vacation, so please join the Discord. I don't think I'm forgetting anything, am I? No, I don't think I am. All right, and that's pretty much it. 20, thank you so much, Judith. I really, really appreciate it. You know you did not have to do that, but I really do appreciate it. I always get embarrassed whenever this happens. I don't know why. It's a weird feeling. All right, what are you guys saying in the chat? Enjoy your vacation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Karim, thank you so much. In the past 1 year, your contribution to Smart English live classes for me and for us around the world. I was a subscriber to Smart English from 2017 in August and send $5 every month. Thank you, Judith. Thank you, Judith, so much for supporting the cause, for believing in Smart English and supporting us all this time. We can't tell you enough how much we actually appreciate that. Thank you. Gosia says this is Sean's ghost. Yeah, maybe, right? He wants to come back in some way or form. Thanks. Thanks for the extra coffee, Judith. All right, so before we start today, actually, I just want to make a note of something. It's important for you to watch last week's class if you want to understand what I'm going to talk about today. So if you don't get what I'm saying today, that's probably because you missed last week's class. So I recommend that you watch last week's class if you haven't before watching this class today. Or you can try to follow along as best as you can. But yeah, definitely watch last week's class. And if you missed it, if you guys have missed last week's class, I will actually, wait a second, where's the share link? There we go, copy. I'm going to give you a copy of a very important document that I created to make your life easier with reported speech, right? So please download that document, make a copy for yourself. Basically, this document explains what is backshifting, and backshifting is really the important part about reported speech. I am not going to explain it today because that's going to take hours if I add it to what we're going to talk about today, right? So, and that's why I said if you missed last week's class, you're probably going to have a hard time today. So please download this document, watch last week's class, and then you should be good for today's class. A lot of yes. $20 is a lot of loonies. Loonies is actually this is the slang word that Canadians basically use for a $1 coin, right? So if you have a $1 coin in Canada, we call this a loonie, and if you have a $2 coin, because we also have $2 coins, we call these toonies, right? So a loonie and a toonie. It's it's a little funny name, but I like it. It's cool. A loonie and a toonie. So yeah, so please make sure you download this document, and that's it, so you can understand what we're going to be talking about today. Now, let's jump into it. All right, so where do I want to go? I want to go to library, English 120, and all the way down, all the way down, all the way down, down. Grammar 12.2, reported speech number 2. All right, so that's it. That's what we're doing today. All right, so very briefly, right, before we... Oh, I forgot to tell you who won movie quote of the week last week. Psh, man. Where was it? Where was last week's class? This was last week's class. Let's check who won movie quote of the week before we continue. No. Let's sort it by newest first, and dun dun da da. No surprise whatsoever. It's Summer, of course. Again, Summer. I know you're in the chat, so congratulations on winning movie quote of the week again. A virtual high five to you, Summer. Good job, as usual. So yeah, that was the movie. That's correct. So the movie last week, the quote was, "What happened to your nose?" And then the guy says, "I was using it to break some guy's fist." Very funny line from the movie. But yeah, this is, again, one of my favorite movies. I really like this movie a lot. If you have never seen it, it's called Lucky Number Slevin, which is a very weird name, but Slevin is the guy's name in the movie, right? So it's called Lucky Number Slevin. And yeah, it's a really, really, really cool movie. I really like it a lot. So please, if you have not seen this movie, I recommend it. Lucky Number Slevin. One more thing also, so you just guys know what's happening today. I am not going to give you guys movie quote of the week today. Shocking. Very simply just because I'm not going to be here, right? I'm not going to be here next week to tell you who won, right? So we're gonna have to wait for movie quote until I come back basically next week. But yeah, so summer is our reigning champion until we resume classes once I come back. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Whoa, what happened? Gloria just donated $20 again. Thank you so much. I think you guys like my embarrassed face. So you're gonna start. Oh man, thank you, Gloria. Thank you. I appreciate it very much. Thank you for all the coffees. All right, so let's get to it. Reported speech 2. Before I start, I just want you guys to know I'm not going to talk about back shifting today. I'm going to thank you, Gloria. Thank you so much. I appreciate you wanting to show your appreciation. That's very nice of you. I am not going to explain back shifting again today, and we're not really going to talk about it that much today, right? So please, if you have no idea what back shifting is or how we use reported speech, like I said, please watch last week's class. All right. Today, basically, we're going to be talking about other ways of reporting, right? Other ways to do reported speech. So, like it says over here, it says, another way of reporting what people said is to use verbs that give us more information about what was said, right? Remember, last week we introduced say and tell, right? When we're using reported speech, he said or he told me, right? Or something like that. Basically, today we're going to look at a few more words or verbs that will give us more expression, right? It's going to make whatever it is that you're trying to say more expressive, basically. So in 120, we will study the following verbs. And we say in 120 because, well, these are not the only verbs, but in Smrt level 120, these are the verbs that basically we introduce to the students. But there's definitely more verbs than this, right? So just in case you guys are wondering, yes, 100%, I know there are many other words that we can use, but for level 120, these are the ones that we are going to be looking at. Turkic Avars, congrats. Oh, thanks, Turkic. Did anybody else come that I missed? I don't think so. Nihal. Hello, Nihal. Welcome to the class. Thank you for coming. So the words that we will take a look at today are tell, ask, which tell we sort of did last week, ask, order, beg, advise, not advice, right? Because we're using the verb. Invite, warn, and remind, right? So remember, all of these are verbs. Now, to report questions and statements with the verbs above, we use the following word order. So I will copy this, and I will let me just paste that here. So as we go along in the lesson today, I'll show you the examples as we do them, right? But for now, remember this form, right? This is the form that you want. So one more time, to use any of the verbs that I just mentioned, tell, ask, order, beg, advise, invite, warn, and remind, you need this form. So you're going to start with any of the verbs that we just mentioned, right? Tell, ask, order, whatever, plus somebody, and then to plus your infinitive verb. Or of course, if it's negative, it's going to be one of these words, somebody plus not, and then to and the infinitive verb. So let's take a look. Nanik Yuliani says, hi Karim, I'm from Indonesia. Morning. Good morning, Nanik, and thank you for coming to the class. So let's take a look at some examples. She asked, would you like to study with me at the library? She asked, would you like to study with me at the library? Now, this is the normal reported speech that we discussed or we've talked about last week. Now, what I'm trying to show you today is a different way of reporting the same information, but it's a little bit more expressive. So, for example, let's use, for this case, she asked, would you like to study with me at the library? So, you could very easily say something like, for example, she invited me to study with her at the library. Now, why am I using invite? Because invite is one of, from these words that I just mentioned today, invite is the one that works for this example, because that's what she did, right? If she's asking you to come with her, right, to go and study in the library, basically she's inviting you, right? That's a kind of invitation if you think about it. So that's the reason why we chose that word from the list, right? So she invited me to study with her at the library. Let's take a look at another example. Mike said you should spend more time at home with your family. One more time. Mike said you should spend more time at home with your family. So again, I can say something like, hey, Mike advised me to spend more time at home with my family. Now, from the list, tell, ask, order, beg, advise, invite, warn. This time I used advise. Why? Because again, it's logical really when you think about it, right? What is Mike doing by telling me this? It's a kind of advice, right? He's telling me what he thinks is a good idea. So that's advice, basically. So in this sentence, I used advised. Mike advised me to spend more time at home with my family. I hope that you can start seeing why certain words fit different examples better, right? Jim said to me, please don't be late tomorrow. Please, right? Please don't be late tomorrow. Please. So Jim begged, right? And we use begged because what? Beg is what? When you say beg, begging is like when you're asking for something and you're over asking for it, right? You're begging. And that's why we call people who beg on the street beggars, because that's what they're doing, right? They're asking for your money or they're asking for something. But basically, that's why it makes sense in this example to use the verb beg, because that's what Jim is doing. He's begging you, right? He's like, please don't be late anymore. Please, I'm begging you, right? Maybe he even said, I'm begging you. But I'm just trying to show you the connection, right, between the verb and the example, right? Why do we change the verbs sometimes, and how you choose these verbs, right? So in the first one, I chose invited because that is what she's doing. When she's asking you to come with her to go somewhere, that's an invitation. In the second one, I said advised because that's what Mike was doing, right? Mike is giving me his advice about something. Jim said to me, again, I used beg because it fits the example because of what he said. He said, please, blah, 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 please, right? So he's begging. I hope that what I'm saying is making sense. Is the connection, it has problems for me. Why? Is there a problem? My connection looks okay, and YouTube says everything is good. Maybe it's just for you, Turkic. Try to refresh the page. But the connection seems fine from my end. I begged him. Begged Gosia, not bedded. Be careful. I begged him not to drink my coffee. Yeah, that's very good. That's a good sentence. Okay, so let's carry on. Tell. Now, I'm going to explain a little bit of a different meaning for tell, right? So tell is not like, it's not in the exact same meaning that we discussed last week. It has an added meaning here, right? So like it says in this box, it says in this usage, tell has a very different meaning than we studied in Grammar 12.1, which was last week's lesson, which I did with you guys. That was 12.1. With this grammar, today's grammar, tell is used to describe orders and obligations, right? So orders, when somebody orders you to do something, right? And it sort of feels like they're telling you do it, right? Like you don't have a choice really, right? So that's what we mean by orders, right? So we use tell. In today's lesson, the meaning that I want you guys to understand for tell is we use it to express that somebody is giving you an order, right? Do this. Or like in the army, for example, or if you're in the police or anything like that, right? You know, any position where somebody is giving you an order that you have to sort of follow or listen to. And obligations, which are things that you have to do, right? Or things that you must do. It is similar to order, basically, right? And its use is very popular in English. And I would say that is true, right? I would say it is quite popular. Gosia says, my boss ordered me to do the report. Yes, very good. But report with an E, not rapport, because you wrote rapport, which is a different word. But yeah, report, R-E-P-O-R-T. Very good. Boom, 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 boom. Oh! Look who's in the chat, everyone! People are going to lose their minds now. Who's in the chat? It's Sean. My mom told me to eat my food. Yes, very good, Avery. That's a nice sentence. Very good. We were just talking about Sean's ghost. I don't know if Sean's still watching or not, but if you're still watching, Sean, we were talking about how on the Smrt English page for the donations, for some reason this week, your picture has overtaken Kent's. So people were joking in the chat that it's your ghost haunting haunting the page. I'm always watching. That's true. Sean can be very scary when he wants to be. All right, let's get back to the lesson. So remember, what am I talking about now? I'm talking about tell, but it's a little bit different from the tell that we explained last week, right? It's similar, but the expression that you're trying, or the extra meaning that you're trying to add to the word tell it today is when somebody orders you to do something, right? When it's an obligation. And I think somebody in the chat gave a good sentence for that. My mom told me to eat my food. Yeah, that's a good sentence, right? My mom told. That's the meaning that you're getting. You're trying to express that your mom ordered you, right, to eat your food. It wasn't like a choice. All right, so let's take a look at some examples. Jane said, "Leave me alone." Jane said, "Leave me alone." So, well, you could say Jane told me to leave her alone. And the meaning here, now, I'll also be very honest with you guys, right? It also depends on the listener. Sometimes the listener might not really pick up or try to understand very well that you're trying to show or to express that it was an order, right? But in reality, at the end of the day, it's not going to change anything really, right? Because you're still telling them what she basically said. But in general, this is how we explain it in this use, right? So Jane told me to leave her alone. So in other words, when something was an order, it makes sense to use told, right? Because like we said, that's the meaning of tell in today's lesson, right? It's similar to order. My father said you have to be home by 11 p.m. tonight, right? So as you'll notice, most of the examples that we will show for told are going to be situations where it's a kind of order or it's a kind of obligation, right? Something that you have to listen to or follow. So my father said you have to be home by 11 p.m. tonight. My father told me to be home by 11 p.m. tonight. And if you notice, we are following, like I said here, we're following this order, right? Which is you use one of the verbs that we are introducing today plus somebody, right? Which is the case here, right? So my father told, in this case, the somebody is me, right? In this case, the somebody is us. In this case, again, it's me, but basically it's anybody, right? You don't have to say the word somebody, right? It can be me, you, us, them, they, the world. Doesn't really matter. Somebody, right? Plus to and the infinitive verb, right? So the infinitive is basically when you use to and then you put the main form of the verb, or verb 1 for the people in the countries that go by 1, 2, and 3. Or the original form of the verb, right? The main verb, the original verb without changing it or anything. And that's pretty much it. You'll notice that the sentences are all following this, right? One of the verbs that we talked about today, plus somebody, which can be me, can be you, can be anybody really. And then to plus the infinitive. And of course, if it's negative, we're just gonna add not plus the infinitive. And that's pretty much it. But are you going back? Who's going back in time? What's going on in the chat? I don't know. I think I missed something that's going on in the chat. Somebody's time traveling. And the rest of the examples are pretty much really the same, right? So the teacher said, "Don't sit down yet." The teacher told us not to sit down yet, right? And there's the not, because that's what he said, right? You're saying that he told you not to sit down. Mark said, "You have to listen carefully," right? So have to. So that's your clue that it's an obligation, right? Something that you must or have to do. So Mark told me to listen carefully. And that's it, right? So it's very common to use tell when you are reporting an order or you're reporting some kind of obligation. Carrying on. Ask. This usage expresses the idea of a request. And a request, I'm sure you guys know by now, means to ask for something politely, right? When you ask for something, and usually in a polite manner, right? We call this a request. So again, that makes sense, right? When you're requesting, you're asking, right? That's basically what you're doing. And that's the reason why we use ask. So for example, Brent asked, Michael, could you close the window? Well, to report what he just said, you can very simply say Brent asked, because that is what he did, right? It was a question. Brent asked Michael to close the window. And the teacher said, please sit down. Again, please sit down is a request, right? And what makes it a request is please. Because, and you'll see this a little bit later in the lesson today, if I take out the word please, that should change this verb. Because without please, well, the teacher could be ordering me, right? It's very possible that he could be giving me an order or it's some kind of obligation. But because of the please here, that's what makes it polite, and that's what makes it a request. So the teacher asked the class to sit down. Next, the man asked, would you mind giving me a hand? Would you mind giving me a hand? The man asked me to give him a hand. Again, would you mind giving me a hand? This is a polite request. So because it's a request, that means it's some form or some kind of question, basically. We use the verb asked. So the man asked me to give him a hand. My son asked me to buy him a toy. Yes, Avery, that's a good sentence. Very good. Nadia, hello Nadia, and welcome to the chat. Thank you very much for coming. At be or not to be. I am not sure what you're asking about, Gosia. Try to clarify the question a little bit. I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about. My wife asked, please don't play the music loudly. So again, I know a lot of people are just like, hey, my wife doesn't ask me, she tells me. and that's fine, right? That's actually, if you thought of that means you're picking up on what I'm saying, right? Because again, yes, what makes this a polite request is the word please, right? Of course, I know you can use your tone to play around and say please, but still not make it a request. But like, let's keep things simple, right? Because of the word please, this is what makes it a polite request. So I'm saying my wife asked me not to play the music loudly. Now, same as this example. If I did not say the word please, if I take the word please out and I just say, hey, my wife said, for example, don't play the music loudly. Well, then I wouldn't say asked. I would say told, right? My wife told me not to play the music loudly. Brother Rabbanna says there was a scene in Hangover when the man throws the but I'm not a dog. Yeah, yes, that is from the Hangover. Okay, notice the difference. So this is, I just explained this actually, right? So notice the difference between ask and tell just by using the word please, right? So this is exactly what I was just talking about, but it's all in one area here, right? So let's take a look. The teacher said, sit down. Sit down. It's not really a request, right? Like if I look at you and say, hey, sit down, that doesn't sound like a request, right? It doesn't sound like I'm trying to be polite and asking nicely. So the teacher said sit down. I would say it makes more sense to say the teacher told us to sit down, right? Now, just by adding that word, please, it changes the feel of the sentence, right? It changes the tone of it. It's not necessarily anymore a request, an order or an obligation. The word please makes it sound softer, right? It makes it sound more polite, and that's why we say this is more of a request, really. Even though I'm using the same thing, right? Sit down and sit down. Just that one word, please, is changing the meaning, right? So the teacher, for the second one with please, I would say the teacher asked, because it's a request, us to sit down. Same stuff again, right? This is pretty much just another example. Mike said, turn on the lights. It's not polite because there's no please. So Mike told me to turn on the lights. If I add the word please, Mike said, please turn on the lights. It becomes a question or a request, so it becomes Mike asked me to turn on the lights. I hope that last point about the please, how it can change something from an order to a request, I hope that was clear for you guys. My boss yelled at me to work. Yeah, very good. Yes, yelled, right? Very good. My boss yelled. All right, order. In this usage, order has the same meaning as tell, right? So pretty much this is going to be the opposite of tell, but the same thing, right? Because I explained that tell has the same meaning as order, and now we're going to talk about order has the same meaning as tell. So it shouldn't be too hard. So in this usage, order has the same meaning as tell, as explained above, but is usually only used for more formal or serious situations. Why so serious? That was a little Joker joke. Joker joke. So one more time. In this usage, order has the same meaning as tell, and as we explained above, but is usually only used for more formal or serious situations. It is usually only used for people in positions of authority, like the police, customs, etc. The use of tell is much more popular, right? And that's true, right? Like, I wouldn't really use the word ordered if I'm reporting speech, unless it's something very, very, very formal, right? Like a police officer orders you, yes, to do something, right? A judge might order you to do something. Somebody of authority, right? Somebody who has a higher authority than you, or somebody that has power or authority on you. Yeah, if you report what they said to you, then it's more common to say ordered, right? So the police said, freeze! The police ordered, right, the man to freeze. That sounds more correct than saying the police told the man to freeze. Yes, told has the meaning of ordered, but when you're talking about the police, you want to show the authority too, right? So it makes more sense to use the word ordered. It's not wrong to say tell or told. I'm just saying, in a situation where you're talking about the police, you want to express that authority, right? And that's why we would use ordered. My boss ordered in the past tense, Avery. Yes, my boss ordered me to follow him. Igor is asking, hi Igor, and welcome to the class. Igor is asking, do you say the word exclaim in ordinary life, or is it just used in literature? I would say in literature. I would say it's very unusual for somebody to say he exclaimed. Like, yeah, it's not day-to-day language really. It's not everyday language. No, I would say it's definitely more uncommon in real life to say exclaimed. But yes, you do see it a lot in literature and novels and books and things like that. All right, let's carry on. The customs officer said, "Empty your bag and pockets." Again, customs officer, right? The people in the airport usually that want to check your bags to see if you have anything illegal or anything that you're not supposed to bring or take out of a country. So again, these people have authority in the airport, basically, and when they tell you to do something, it's pretty much an order, right? So I would say, again, to express the authority of the situation, because they're customs officers, I would use the word ordered, right? So the customs officer ordered me to empty my bag and pockets. And that's pretty much it, right? So I hope you notice the difference, right? Tell is the same as order, but tell is used for more common day-to-day situations. Order is used when it's the situation involves a formality, right? Something that is very formal or that has a lot of authority, like the police, the government, a judge, in this case also the customs officer or something like that. My teacher told us to put away our phones. Yeah, right? For a teacher, I would say it's more common to say tell, unless you really want to be super expressive and like make the listener understand it was like an order. Yeah. All right, next word, beg. To beg. Again, beg is when you beg, you're asking for something, pretty much, right? If you're so it's related again to requests and it's related to questions. The only real difference is beg has a much stronger meaning because it shows that someone really, really, really wants what they are asking for. So it's very common for children, for example, to beg, right? As you can see in this picture, right? Dad, can we please go to the Disneyland? Please, right? And then depending on the child, they might start crying and begging for a long time, right? But that's pretty much it, right? That's why it's very common that we use beg with kids, because kids beg a lot most of the time. So the child asked, Dad, can we please go to Disneyland? Please. The child begged her father. So again, I'm using the same logic really that it's going to be the same for all the words that we talk about today, right? I'm using the same logic that I explained in the very beginning. I'm just choosing one of the words in the list of verbs that I gave you today that matches the situation, that matches what is going on, that matches what is happening. So in this case, she is begging. So to report what she said while she was begging, it's not a bad idea to say something like this, right? The child begged her father to go to Disneyland. Another example, John said to Marla, Marla, please don't leave me. Marla, please don't leave me. Oh man, he doesn't look very serious though. That's, I don't know. Marla looks very serious. Marla looks super serious. But I don't know, John. Yeah, John doesn't look very serious. I think Marla's going to leave John. I don't know. That's just what I'm getting from the picture. But pretty much, John said to Marla, Marla, please don't leave me, right? So, John, again, begged Marla not to leave him. My grandmother begged me not to drink too much. Yes, that's a good sentence, Abri. Gosia says, I begged, not bagged. Bagged is a different word. I begged my neighbor not to smoke on the balcony. Very nice, yes. They never stopped begging. Then they moved to ordering, then crying. You mean kids? All right, so that's it, right? I think this one's pretty easy. If you understand the request and everything else, it's the same. The only difference is beg is for a much stronger request, right? That usually are in, kids beg a lot. When you want something really from somebody that can give it to you, you might beg if it's going to work. All right, next word is, or the next verb that we have is to advise. And please notice the difference in pronunciation for advise with an S and advice with a C, right? So the one with the S almost sounds like I'm saying the letter Z at the end, right? Or Z. So advise, right? Advise. That's the verb, right? So to advise is the verb, and advice with a C is the noun. And that's pretty much the difference, right? If you're one of the people, because I see a lot of people that sometimes get confused by advise and advice. So advise is used for suggestions. When you're suggesting something to somebody, usually that's your opinion, right? That's your suggestion. So it's your advice. Recommendations, again, recommendations, when you recommend something, it's what you think is good, right? Or bad, or whatever. So again, that's a kind of advice. And of course, advice, obviously. So for example, this guy, I don't know why, but kind of reminded me of Walter White from Breaking Bad. If you guys know what I'm talking about. If you know Breaking Bad, he looks this guy, the bald guy. He looks like Heisenberg. All right, so let's take a look. We're talking about advice. So Jim said, if I were you, I wouldn't go to that restaurant, right? If I were you, I wouldn't go to that restaurant. So this is his suggestion, right? Or that's his opinion, or his recommendation, or his advice. Igor said, yeah, you're right. I don't know if I can say that word on this channel or not, so I'm not gonna take the risk. All right, so Jim advised me not to go to that restaurant. Again, it doesn't matter which verb you use to do the reporting, just don't forget it's always this form, right? So the verb, and then whoever it is you're talking about, somebody, and then to not of course if it's negative, and then your infinitive, right, which is the base form of the verb. So that never changes. That's going to stay the same throughout today's lesson pretty much. So Jim said, if I were you, I wouldn't go to that restaurant. It will be Jim advised me not to go to that restaurant. I advised my cousin not to get married, with the past. You want the past tense of marry. I was advised to leave the train. No, you're correct, Avery. You need the ed. The way that you wrote the sentence in the beginning was correct. I was advised to leave the train. That's fine. Stephen said, hey, you should try harder. You should try harder, right? So should, suggestion. So again, right? Suggestions, recommendations, advice, anything like that is considered advice basically, right? So Stephen said you should try harder. It's going to be Stephen advised us or me or you or whoever it is he was talking to try harder. The next verb is invite, and hopefully by now you guys can see the pattern, right? It's the same, right? It's always the same. I'm just basically just going over the different meanings and situations where something might make sense. So invite is similar again to ask, right? Because if you invite somebody over, usually you're asking them to come over, right? You'll be like, hey, would you like to come to my house this weekend? Or hey, why don't you come? Like, it's always you're requesting for them to come over, right? To visit. So it's an invitation. Or to go with you somewhere, it's still an invitation. Or to do an activity with you, that's still an invitation. So, one more time. Invite is similar to ask, but it's used to describe spending time with someone socially, right? So, Leanne asked, in this picture here, Leanne asked, would you like to come with me to the park this afternoon? So again, you're asking somebody to come with you somewhere. That's an invitation. You're inviting them to come with you. Excuse me. So, Leanne, again, makes sense. Leanne invited me to go to the park with her this afternoon, right? So Leanne invited me to go to the park with her this afternoon. I invited her to go to the gig. Yeah. Nguyen says he advised me to get to your class as soon as possible. Or you could say to get your class if my class was something that you can acquire or purchase or buy. Yes, that's also a good sentence. Jonathan asked, hey, do you want to go to the movies with me tonight? So again, it's an invitation, right? So Jonathan invited Brianne to go to the movies with him tonight. And it's the same, right? It's always the verb that we've talked about, and then somebody, and then to, not in case it's a negative sentence, and then the base or the normal verb, right, after that. Abdul Man'am Hussein says hi. Hello, Abdul Man'am. Welcome to the class. Thank you for coming. Next verb we're going to talk about is warn. W-A-R-N. Warn. This verb is used when we describe possible dangers to someone, right? When you're warning somebody, right? You're trying to basically tell somebody to be careful about something, right? And it's usually, not always, but usually, it's used in a negative pattern. So, for example, my father said, if you come home after 12 a.m., you will be in trouble. If you come home after 12 a.m., you will be in trouble. That's a warning, right? That's your father telling you, hey, be careful of this, right? So, my father warned, right? So it makes sense here to say, my father warned me not to come home after 12 a.m. Now, if anybody asks, well, can I say told here to give the expression of order? Yeah, you definitely can. Why not, right? It's always nice to have more than one way to say the same thing. But yeah, this is what warn means, right? When somebody wants you to be careful of something. So the teacher said, I will take your phone away if you use it in class. The teacher said, I will take your phone away if you use it in class. The teacher warned me not to use my phone in class, right? And notice that, as we said, usually we use it in the negative. We have a negative pattern for it. So, for example, Abri, I warned my son, don't to touch the stove. No, I would use it this way, right? Not to. So, I warned my son not to touch the stove. Fadul Hamid says hi. Hi, Fadul, and thank you for coming to the class. Hi. All right. Next word, remind. To remind. Remind is used. Did you hear that? I heard a weird sound when I went something like that. I don't know. Anyway, remind is used when we say something to someone to help them remember what they have to do, right? I'm sure you guys know what remind means, right? So to remember is the verb when you're talking about yourself. I remember something, I don't remember something. To remind is when you are trying to make someone else remember something, right? So remind is used when we say something to someone to help them remember what they have to do. My father said, hey, don't forget to lock the door. Don't forget to lock the door. So you could say, my father reminded me, right? And you can say reminded, why? Because he said, don't forget. That is what he's doing. He's telling you, hey, don't forget. He is reminding you. That is exactly what he's doing, actually, right? So my father reminded me to lock the door. Pete said, remember, don't eat too much for lunch. Remember, don't eat too much for lunch because we're going to have a big dinner, right? Don't eat. Remember, he said the word remember in the beginning, right? So you're talking with Pete and he's like, hey, remember, don't eat too much for lunch because we're going to have a big dinner later. So Pete, again, reminded. That is literally what he's doing. He actually said he used the word remember in his sentence, right? So Peter reminded me not to, right? And not to eat a big lunch because we're going to have a big dinner. She warned him not to touch her laptop. Yes, that's a good sentence, Nguyen. He reminded me about her birthday's party. No, Abdul Minam, because usually you have to, what was the sentence that he told you? What did he say to you? All right, tell and ask, two different uses. So this is like a mini sort of a revision at the end of the lesson here because we are almost done. Dun, 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 dun. All right, one more time. Tell and ask, two different uses. We have now studied so far two different uses for tell and ask in reported speech. In Grammar 12.1, which is last week's lesson, please, if you have missed last week's lesson, and I noticed that a lot of people came to the class late today, so I'll share it one more time. I created this document for last week's lesson, right? So please, when you watch last week's lesson that talks about reported speech 1, make sure that you use it or you follow along with this document, right? Because I have all the different back shifts that you can possibly see in this document, right? So all the important information is just sort of in 2 pages that you can very quickly see. So please use that. So Grammar 12.1, these are the things that we did last week, right? So she said, I'm happy. She told me that she was happy, right? And please, if this is confusing you, please watch last week's lesson, right? This is what backshifting is called. Or this is what is called backshifting. They said we aren't having a good time. They told me that they were not having a good time. I said I will help you. I told you that I would help you, right? In this week, in today's grammar, we looked at she said go home. She told me to go home, right? And basically the form that we've talked about today, right? This one, your verb plus somebody plus to, and then your infinitive verb. Same thing with ask, right? She asked, do you want to stay or leave? She asked me whether I wanted to stay or leave. Again, we've talked about this last week, so please watch last week's lesson. And this is what we did today, right? And that's really pretty much it. 2 ways of reporting. Sometimes a sentence may be reported 2 or more even different ways, right? So for example, let's take a look. Jane asked, hey, do you want to go out for dinner with me? Do you want to go out for dinner with me? Jane asked if I wanted to go out for dinner with her. Or Jane invited me to go out for dinner with her. Now, they both work, and I did this actually during the lesson today, right? When I was explaining some of the examples. Some examples I said, hey, remember, we could also use this word because it has a similar meaning or it fits the situation. So when Jane asked, hey, do you want to go out for dinner with me? Well, I can say asked because that's what she did. She was asking. Or I can say invited because that is also what she's doing, right? Her asking me out for dinner is a kind of invitation. So it doesn't really matter if I say this one or that one. I still reported what she said accurately, right? Mr. David says, yes or no questions, we use if or whether. Yes, you are correct. And welcome to the class, Mr. David. And that's pretty much it, really, right? So I already explained this before here. Like, which example was I talking about? Boom, 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 boom. Like my father one, remember? Right? When we said, hey, my father reminded me not to lock the door. Well, I could also say my father told me to lock the door, or not to forget to lock the door. And that's really it. That's all I meant in the end here when I said sometimes you can use, it doesn't have to be only one of those verbs to report a specific situation. It could be more than one. Nadia Khan, I have no idea what you're talking about, Nadia. I didn't see any questions. All right, let's carry on. So pretty much, this is today's lesson. If you understood last week's lesson, today's lesson should have been not that difficult really to understand, and you should have really picked up on it quite easily. Mr. David told told needs an object. Yes, you have to use an object with tell. So in other words, who did you tell, right? If you say tell, you have to tell me who did you tell, right? So I told you, I told them, I told us, I told whoever, right? Told requires an object. You need it. Ain't the same the real. Hello, Ain't the Same the Real. Very nice of you to join the class. You came at the end, but I am always happy when I see your name. It's a cool name, and I like to say it. Ain't the same the real. Ain't the same the real. Rodrigo has to go to work. See you, Rodrigo, and I hope you have a nice day at work. And thank you for coming to the class. So that's really it, you guys. Both of them work. Both of them work. Ain't the same. Who and whom. Both of them work in that example of yours. My friend warned me to watch out for the dog when visiting my neighbor's house. Yes, that's a good sentence, Gloria. Very good sentence. Ain't the same the real. Thank you. Oh, no worries, man. No worries. You should always backshift in reported speech, even with the simple present. No, not in all. You don't shift back in all situations, and that's why I'm saying please watch last week's lesson if you missed it, because we went over all the stuff. And in this document, the document that I just shared with you guys, it tells you when you don't need to backshift. But yeah, no, you don't always backshift in all situations. All right, that is pretty much it for this week. Unfortunately, it's I can't really spend too much time today, so I'm not going to be doing the exercises with you guys. But I will. I will give you the exercise, and I will give you the answers to the exercise. So you guys can definitely practice what we talked about today, and you can check to see if you are right or wrong. So just give me a second and let me do that. So this is the exercise, and these are the answers. Ooh, the updated Smrt. Look at the nice blue buttons. We didn't have that last week. I'm sure we didn't have that last week. It's probably a new version of Smrt. Where am I? So let me first do this. Actually, first I need to make a copy. Make a copy, yes, and say yes, okay. And also I need to make a copy of this one, and say okay. There's my copy. Let me change the sharing options so that you guys can actually open the file. So advance, change, anyone with the link, save. Yes. And give me the link. There we go. All right, so this first link that I'm going to put in chat right now, this is the exercise. So you guys can get the document. Please make sure that you read the question carefully before you start answering. I find that a lot of students, they look at an exercise and then they assume that they know what the exercise wants, right? Which is a very horrible mistake. You should always read very carefully what the question is telling you or asking you to do. So there you go. There's a copy of the exercise. And advanced, change, anyone with the link, save, and say copy. Boom. All right, the second link that I'm going to put right now, you guys, is the answers, right? So this is the answers for the exercise that I just shared with you. So that's it. You guys can practice basically at home. And you're not going to have a problem. Whew, I went big. So, thank you, Gloria. I appreciate that. I plan to, believe me, I plan definitely on having a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm really actually I'm very much looking forward to the vacation. Should be a lot of it should be fun. Should be a lot of fun. So that's pretty much it for this week, you guys. So reported speech 1, please watch that video first. It's going to make your life a lot easier, understanding all the things that we're talking about today. No, I don't. No, I don't agree with what Mr. David is saying. Always look at the answers first. Cheating is the key to learning a new language. No, it's not. That's funny. Doriath says hi. Hi, Doriath. Mr. I think he's just joking. I think he's just joking, Gloria. Sorry, Gosia. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So reported speech 1, make sure that you watch that, download. YouTube, by the way, YouTube updated the way that they've done this for a while, but I've noticed also that you can even see the links. So if you're watching this video when it's not live, you can still look at the chat while that happened during the live lesson, and the links will still appear in the chat. So you guys, even if you're not watching this live, you should be able to still download all the documents that I share with you, which is actually kind of cool, because I was always wondering, like, why doesn't YouTube show the chat that was happening during the live session? And they did that, and it includes links, which is fantastic. So you guys can download any of the documents. And that's pretty much it for this week. So yeah, so please don't forget, I am not going to be here next week, right? So next Wednesday, and the Wednesday after that, and the one after that, and the one after that, right? So for an entire month, I am not going to be streaming, but I will upload some videos, hopefully on my other channel. So actually, let me do my outro, so I can show you which channel I'm talking about if you want to watch some of my videos on vacation. Sometimes you don't see the chat, but it depends on where you're watching it. So if you're watching it on the regular, like, let me open, actually, let me show you. Let me go small again, pow, like that. And let me show you. So I think this was last week's lesson, and that's what I'm going to share with you guys. We don't need the audio for this. And right there, right? So the chat is usually on the right side. You can see the chat as it was happening during the lesson, and you'll also see links, right? So if I post anything like a document or anything like that, or I share any document with you guys, you can still see it in here. Now it looks different on mobile, right? So if you're watching the lesson on mobile, there's an arrow, right? There's an arrow that you have to click, and it will open the video. If you're making your video full screen on mobile and you go full screen, well then there's another button at the top here that you just play around with the buttons and you'll notice, right? Once you click the correct one, the chat will appear also. But you definitely can. I know that you can because I experimented with it at home. I tried it out, right? So I know that it works. Thank you. I'll actually be missing you guys too. I love streaming. Honestly, it's one of my favorite things that I do every week, and I always look forward to Wednesdays. So I'm actually going to miss all of you guys, and I'm going to miss coming and hanging out here with you. But hopefully, like I said, right, we have other ways of communicating and keeping in touch with each other, which I will talk about now. All right, so. Beautiful people of the internet and the world, you are watching this awesome free live class on Smrt English. If you have not done so, please consider subscribing to our channel, hitting that bell notification. If you hit the bell notification, it tells you when the next class is and what it's going to be. And there's Sean's ghost again in the in the channel. If you go all the way down to the page, you're going to find my face, boop-de-boop on my face. It's going to take you to my page, Smrt English with Karim. And basically, I have much shorter videos on this page, right? So I shoot videos around Vancouver. I show you Vancouver. I do these idioms and phrasal verbs and things like that. They're much shorter. Videos are about 2 minutes, 3 minutes, a minute sometimes. So yeah, and this is where I'll be posting my my videos during vacation, right? So Smrt English with Karim. If you guys want to check out my vacation videos, basically go and subscribe to me over there. Also, I have a personal channel on YouTube. It's called Food AF. It's not part of Smrt really. This is my own channel. I don't teach English, but I speak in English so you can practice listening. And it's about food. I like to cook. I like to feed people. And yeah, I like food. I think it's interesting. So if you like food, please come and join me over there, right? It's called Food AF. It's very easy to find. Just type Food AF and it's the first channel that comes up. For the people that were wondering, how do we donate or how do we support you guys? Or, oh, Kent, you did a really awesome class today, man. I feel like I want to buy you a coffee or anything like that. You can go to the smartenglish.com page, and hopefully by the time that you guys go there, Sean's ghost would have left the page and Kent will have his picture back. But I'll give you the link to that page in case you're wondering where it is. This is a $5 monthly subscription as a way for you guys to show us support if you want, right? People were asking about this, so we set up this page. Another very easy and very simple way to do it is from the chat that you guys are using right now, right? So just click on the $ at the bottom right over here, send super chat, and then you can decide how much you want to send, and this is only one time, right? This is not a subscription that happens every month. This is only one time. But anyway, these are two different ways for you guys to do that if you want to. The important word is if you want to, right? You don't have to do this. These classes are always going to be free. It's our pleasure to come here every week and spend this time with you guys. So please don't feel pressured, right? If you don't want to, or if you can't, it's absolutely fine, right? No problems whatsoever. One more thing, for the people that get angry with me in the chat, why don't you answer my questions and all those things, this is where you should do it, right? I don't always answer all the questions in the chat because of time management and because I also ignore questions that are not related to the topic. However, if you want to ask anything that's related to English, we have a Facebook group. It's called Learn English on Facebook with Smrt. Please come and join us over there. It's very active. It's actually quite a large group. And I promise you, if you ask anything on this group, people will always answer, right? So this is where to go, right? If you want to ask anything that's English related. The Discord, one more time, I'll put the link for you guys in the chat. Discord is free. Discord is probably also going to be the easiest and the coolest way to talk or to chat while I'm on holiday. So there it is. The link is in the chat. It's free. You don't really need to, it doesn't cost a thing. And it's very cool. So come and join us over there. And I believe that that is pretty much it. So let's go big. And yeah, so I like, oh great, Lolly, if you like food, you should go check out my channel. I love food. Who's gonna stream tomorrow? I believe it's Kent. I think yeah, I think Kent should. Kent streams. Don't take my word for it, but as far as I know, Kent is still streaming. But yeah, I won't be streaming for a month. Oh, great! If you love cooking, Gosia, I would love your opinion on some of my dishes. All the dishes on my channel are original dishes, right? They're all my recipe. So so I would love your opinion on what you think. So come and check me out, please. What did I want to say? Oh yeah, one more thing, you guys. Please, this makes a huge difference, right? I know a lot of people are lazy to click the subscribe button and sometimes they don't want to subscribe, and that's fine. But please, if you like the video, right? If you like this video right now, you've benefited from this video in any way, or you've had fun, then please, we would appreciate a like, right? So please like the video if you like it. It makes a big difference for us, right? It makes a really, really big difference, and it helps us grow, right? It tells YouTube that, hey, these people like this content, and then YouTube tries to find more people that are similar to you guys or that have similar interests, and it shows them our channel. And you don't have to like it. If you don't like it, give us a dislike, right? It's fine. If you like this video, like it if you like it. And dislike it if you dislike it, right? It's fine, but give us some kind of reaction, right? Show us an indication of, are we doing a good job? Do we need to change some things? Why some videos were not as good as others, and things like that, right? So please react in some way. If you like the video, like it. And if you don't, well, give us a dislike. It's okay to give us a dislike. We are big boys and we can handle it. And that's really it. That's all I wanted to say. No movie quote, I'm sorry, this week for you guys, because I can't tell you who won next week. So until I come back, Summer is going to have to be the reigning champion. And that's pretty much it. I think, yeah, everybody in the chat is okay. I don't think I missed anything. I said everything I needed to say, and you guys in the chat are doing good. Yes, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Thumbs up on the video, right? Not in the chat. On the video, right? You should like the video. Don't send me an emoji. The emoji doesn't do anything. And that's it, you guys. So I guess I'm going to see you in a month. So until I see you back in a month, I will be the winner for the month. Yes, you are going to be the winner for the month, Summer. Emojis are key to learning a new language. Well, emojis are designed to be universal, right? Emojis by nature are designed to be universal. But I'm sure that there are some emojis that are culture specific, maybe. All right, so yeah, that's it. I'm going to sign off. I'll let you guys go. Thank you once more for your precious time. Thank you so much for coming and spending your time with me and listening to me ramble on this channel sometimes. It's a lot of fun, and I'm very honored and I appreciate it. So yeah, that's it. I'm going to sign off, and I will see you guys in 1 month. So until I see you, beautiful people, stay connected on the Discord and the Facebook. But until I see you, have a lovely morning, evening, and night. Much love, peace, and shapow.